Good morning. The Civil Service Commission meeting of March 16th, 2021 is to begin. All commissioners are present this morning.
Here we are.
Minutes. Everybody had a chance to read them.
Move approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
That's what she said.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, we'll turn it over to the chief examiner for an update.
Good morning, commissioners. Happy almost spring. I just have a couple of very quick things. One, I did touch on last month on working on an annual report. We are continuing work on that, and we will have something to present at the May Commission meeting. The other thing I wanted to talk about this morning was something we have coming this summer, and we're terming it Testing Bonanza. We have a lot of tests that we were unable to test for last year due to COVID. And we are still unable to test for large scale since City Hall is closed. Laborer 1, refuse collector 1, custodian 1, meter reader, radio operator 1, and park caretaker. What we have decided to do is a whole week of testing from July 19th to July 24th, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., including Saturday. And we have reserved space at Ferris High School. So plenty of free parking. It's on a bus line. We're going to do a lot of advertising blitz for it to get a lot of interest. And I'm hopeful that it'll be a new way to draw new applicants and to get a whole lot of testing done in a very short period. As we firm up plans, I'll have more updates for you in the coming months. And that is all I have for a chief's update.
All right. Agenda item 4A.
Agenda item 4A has been continued to the May 18th commission meeting. No?
4A is Katie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, jumped the gun a little bit. 4A is a presentation from our communications manager, Katie, on client engagement. Sorry, Katie, for the poor intro, but take it away.
Well, good morning, commissioners. Thank you for this time this morning. Again, I'm Kathleen. I go by Katie, and I am the program professional in civil service. And today I have about a 15-minute presentation to give you some updates on all of the communication, education, outreach that we've been doing and some things we have planned for next quarter. So I have a PowerPoint prepared. I am going to share my screen. And if someone could just confirm in a few moments that they can see my screen. Just give me a minute here. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. Okay. Kelsey, could you confirm that you can see my screen?
I can see it.
Yep, we can see it, Kate.
You can. Okay, great. Perfect. So I'll just jump right in. First, I wanted to provide an update on our new Pathways to Public Service. It's a community hiring workshop that we started offering at the beginning of this year. And we are offering this on a monthly basis on the third Thursday of each month at 12 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. And the goal is really to engage job seekers and help them navigate our application process and the civil service process here at the city. So some of the topics that we cover are why work for the city of Spokane. On this presentation is myself and an HR analyst from Human Resources. And it's nice that we're both able to kind of talk about our experience of getting involved in public service and how we got our foot in the door. We also talk about, that we've got 350 plus different job classifications and diverse career fields. So we let folks know if you have a passion or an interest or a career field that you like, we most likely have a career that can meet that interest. We also go into what is civil service and what is a merit system. For a lot of job seekers, this is different and new, and we want to help prepare them for what that looks like. That also, we're able to walk people through what to expect and how to navigate applying for positions. And then lastly, we actually pull up our governmentjobs.com webpage, which is the hiring platform that we use for all of our applications. And we will walk folks through how to create an account and how to set up an account. And then we actually do a test example of how to apply for a position. And just let them see that once they see their account, it makes applying for jobs pretty darn easy. And I wanted to highlight, this came up at a commission meeting maybe 1 or 2 months ago where we have advertised this workshop. So initially we have put this on city social media with Facebook and Twitter. We've partnered with Communications and they have written a blog and have been putting that out on social media. We also have had this posted on the City of Spokane LinkedIn page. We've shared this with our contact source, SCC and SFCC, EWU and Whitworth. We've also had a blurb in the mayor's community newsletter update that's going out every so many weeks. We've sent this info to our local community centers. We also had a blurb in the Spokane Public newsletter. We've also shared this with City Council, our contacts at Spokane County, our partners in the community with the Supported Employment Program, and we've also been circulating this internally in our Merit Matters quarterly newsletter. Obviously, we will continue to promote this in various ways as we continue to build partnerships in the community, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. There is a goal at some point when we can safely go mobile with this workshop. We do anticipate offering these in various locations throughout the community, like public libraries and community centers, to meet people where they're at. Next, I want to provide, excuse me. Sorry, I'm frozen screen here for 1 second. There we go. An update on our expanded Lunch and Learn trainings. So we, about 6 months ago, started offering our Lunch and Learn trainings on a monthly basis. Historically, these had been offered once a quarter. And historically, these were offered in person in the testing room at City Hall. And we've gone virtual with COVID, and we have actually received a lot of positive feedback by going virtual. We also have seen increased participation from a lot of offsite departments. So fire, police, streets, and courts are just some examples of people that have started to come to these trainings that I don't think we historically saw a lot of participation from. So I think if you look back, how likely was it for someone who worked offsite to get in their car, drive downtown, pay to park, and come into City Hall for a lunch break and a training? I think by going virtual, we've really been able to engage a lot of new people. And I think it's safe to say we will continue to offer these virtually, and also at some point as well offer some on-site trainings at different locations. So some of the topics that we've been able to cover in just the last few months, we've done a training on the Supported Employment Program. We recently did one on Dayton Class. Last fall, we did a training on classification work and sort of a 101 overview of what that is. This month, we'll be doing a training on online testing basics. We also did promotions. We actually did a really interesting one early fall last year, Civil Service Commission 101. And we were just educating staff on What is the commission? What are your guys' roles and responsibilities? How does one become a commission member? And what is our role as staff with the commission? And we had a lot of really engaging, and people were really interested in learning more about what we do and what you guys do. We also have done navigating NeoGov, and then our most popular in the last few months has been transfer and demotion. We offered that back in December, and almost 40 people participate virtually, which I think is the most we've seen in the last few months. So more to come on Lunch and Learn. For Q2 coming up in the next few months, we will be doing another presentation on promotions. We will be doing one on reviewing the civil service recruiting plan. And we will also be doing a training on understanding the roles and responsibilities of civil service and human resources. How we decided to choose these topics, some of you may remember in our December newsletter, we had asked for feedback on what people wanted to learn more about. And we received a lot of feedback that there's a lot of confusion internally on what is the difference in the roles of civil service and HR. So we will be providing that in partnership or in collaboration with human resources. But more to come. Next, I also wanted to provide an update on a new training series that we are offering this year. This is the Civil Service for Hiring Managers. And really the goal is to help managers understand when and how they will interact and how to navigate civil service. So our first training for this will be on March 30th, coming up at the end of this month. And topics will include hiring a classified employee and how to fill a vacancy, understanding classification, what are job surveys, how to reclassify a position, and what are classification studies. We'll also teach managers about the transfer and demotion process and how to utilize those lists, as well as when will they be a part of the selection of subject matter experts and what are subject matter experts. They'll also learn about the supported employment program, project employees, and promotions. So this is our first of this training happening this year. We will be seeking feedback from participants and will most likely tweak and adjust what this looks like depending on the feedback that we receive after this, the first few trainings.
Could I ask,
Next,
could I,
please. I don't hear you.
is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. A question on the civil service for the civil service for hiring managers. Do you provide that, or is this advertised to those individuals at City Hall that may not be a manager yet? I shouldn't say at City Hall, in the city at all, that are not managers yet, but that may well test for a management position. Is this made clear that they could also be a part of this and gain from this?
That's a great question, Commissioner Gilmore. So that actually came up at our last Lunch and Learn. Someone who is not a manager, but maybe will be someday, had said, hey, can I participate in this training? And I think it does need to be made a little bit more clear in some of our outreach that this is open to anyone interested in learning about this work. And we actually do have a newsletter going out next week that I'll talk about in just a few minutes, that we will highlight that this training is open to anyone interested in participating. So that's a really good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I also wanted to provide an update on employment and some of the outreach and work that we have been doing. So as you guys know, we host our Partners for Work event every spring and fall. And the goal is really to promote the supported employment program, to build awareness and community around this work, to encourage local job seekers to apply for our program, and also assist in giving job seekers experience in interviews and exposure to potential job offers. And so this event will be virtual this spring. It's going to take place on April 27th and 28th. It's going to be an hour and a half each day of virtual job interviews. And we are currently working to engage city managers and local businesses to be a part of this event. Last fall, we did a event. It was a big success. We representatives from civil service and Spokane Fire take part in the event. We also had businesses like Providence, Numerica, and Gonzaga participate. I'm happy to say one person was offered a job with Rotary 21. So these are really neat events that feel great to be a part of and show that they're leading this work in the community. So we're working on sort of finalizing the event details this week. I should have a final flyer to share with commission members by the end of this week or early next week with more details. And then just one other thing I wanted to highlight. I'm having trouble hearing you. Sorry, that was my watch. One other thing I wanted to highlight is that I presented to the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation back last month, which is a part of DSHS. And this is a group of job specialists that work with a lot of job seekers in this area. And so it's just a really wonderful partnership to have throughout the program. So just wanted to highlight that. And then just some updates on some of the partnerships that we've been cultivating over the last few months. Last year, we were able to develop a very strong partnership with Eastern Washington University. More recently, we have been having conversations with WorkSource Spokane. WorkSource actually has been sending a few job coaches and job seekers to our Pathways to Public Service hiring workshop. In the last few months, we have also developed a very positive collaborative relationship with the community colleges. We are actually now posting all of our positions on the SCC and SFCC internal job board for students to see. And we have an ongoing relationship with Whitworth. And then planned for 2021, I would love to start a relationship with Gonzaga University, kind of build out our existing relationships with our community centers and local organizations. So just for example, HVPA, NAACP, the Native Project, League of Voters are some ideas that we have of local organizations I think we can benefit from having partnerships with.
I'd like to
And
add
last but not least, just some additional updates. Oh, yeah. I think you're muted again, Commissioner Gilmore.
How about now? How about now?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Something's going on with this morning. I would like to suggest, or at least perhaps have someone look into, I really think you might want to reach out to Transitions. Edie Rice Sauer is the director there. They do an incredible job of getting women prepared for employment, and particularly for interviewing, etc. Many of them are talented women that just haven't worked in a while. And I know that they're doing one heck of a job up at their cottage. Cottage, what do they call that? All the tiny houses that are built, and families are now living there. And every woman there goes through various services. And that includes helping them try to find jobs. And there's so many of them I talk to that I think would be great to get into civil service jobs. So I would like to suggest that maybe Transitions, and another group would be Women Helping Women. I really think both of those could be pretty dynamic if we had them as a part of our recruiting.
Wonderful suggestions, Commissioner Gilmore. And if you have any specific contacts that you would like to connect me with, that would be wonderful. I would really appreciate that.
Okay, I'll send those to you.
Great.
Yes.
Awesome. So this is just my last slide here. Just our quarterly Merit Matters newsletter is scheduled to go out next week. all commissioners should be receiving the newsletter now. If you're not receiving the newsletter, please let us know. We will make sure that you do. And I just wanted to also do a little plug. If you guys remember, at the end of summer last year, we revamped our entire external Career Center webpage. We gave it a fresh new look. We really just made it very current. And it was a goal to also do that with our internal SharePoint site. And I'm going to just quickly pull that up. I do not know if this has ever been shared with commissioners before. Just to give you an idea of what internal staff sees when they are seeking information about civil service and content in the SharePoint site. So on the left-hand side, we've got a few different tabs. You can learn more about the appeal process, our testing schedule, job classifications, things of that sort. Testing schedule is the popular one. People seem to click on this the most in our newsletter. And this is just where people can kind of see what's coming down the pipeline, what work is in the queue, sort of what's happening. Further down, oh, here we go. So here's kind of what the testing page, testing schedule and work request status looks like. So people can see what's underway, requests received, waiting assignment, testing that is currently in progress, and what's scheduled for second and third quarter. So again, this is when we send out our newsletter, we link to this page, and this is the most popular one that is clicked on in our newsletter. And then if we go back to our main page, the goal was really to make this, just give it a fresh update, make it visually pleasing and easy to navigate. So down below, we've got a few different tiles that people can click on. We have general information, resources for hiring managers, resources for staff, our supported employment program info, external resources people can share with friends and family that want to work at the city, and then an archive of all of our lunch and learns that we've been doing. So if someone misses a lunch and learn, they can come in here and look at them and see them archived. And then I'll just click on resources for staff just to give you an idea. It's got a build out of all the resources listed here that people can click on and learn more about. So as we develop more resources, they will continue to be put here on the SharePoint site. So that concludes my presentation. I am going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and would love to leave it open for any questions or comments that commissioners may have for me.
I think this presentation is exactly what the city council is looking for from us, or at least that's what it seemed like. So we may want to take a copy of this with us whenever that meeting happens.
Sounds great. Thank you for your time today, commissioners.
Thank you, Katie. That was a great presentation. We're busy. We're doing a lot of stuff. It's great to see that.
Okay, agenda item 5A has been continued to the May meeting. So agenda item 6A. I believe that's you, Commissioner Gilmore.
Commissioner Gilmore and Pam Bergen, right? I don't have any new information from Pam Bergen. What I know is at our last meeting, when we discussed this item, we knew that I think we had kind of said, let's think about April. And here we are at the middle of March. So I think we're going to have to give some direction. The commission is going to have to give some direction for a forward motion on going ahead and sending out our job announcement and getting prepared to do some interviews. So I would think that I know that we just moved into a new phase in the state. So it could be by the time we would do advertising, recruitment, get applications in, go through them, etc., we might actually be at a point where we could do live interviews. If not, then I guess doing this type of interview will need to be a part of the process that is undertaken. But I don't know how the rest of the commission members feel, but I know that staff has asked us to consider moving forward so that they can get a full-time director back in the position, and I think we owe them that. And so I'm thinking we need to probably pick a date to start advertising for this position. That's my suggestion.
Commissioners and staff, my memory is faulty, as everybody knows. But it seems that last meeting we discussed posting the minimum qualifications. And it seems that it's my recollection that I suggested that those be vetted, and those that human resources or staff or the recruitment committee felt met the minimum qualifications and potentially had met the job requirements would then come forth to Judith and potentially me. And I'll let you know that I was probably replaced on the search committee by Judith, because I've done actually absolutely nothing, and Judith has been doing it all. But that was my recollection, is that we would move with the posting, I thought. Or did we, at the end of that discussion, say, let's hold off a month and discuss further? What do you guys recall?
Personally, I recall that we were going to wait and start everything in April, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to dismiss your memory at all on
Well,
that.
I think, I may have the timing incorrect, but I would certainly support, if a motion is necessary, I'd even make a motion that we start the recruitment process and the advertising for the job. But then I do remember specifically saying, I don't want to see every single resume that comes in. I think it should be vetted by somebody in the know around the job requirements that can say, at least here are the people that meet the requirements. Who do you want to talk to? But if a motion is needed, our chairperson can let me know and I can make that motion.
I'll just add that my recollection is similar to Craig's and Judith as well. But I would also entertain starting the process. I think that Commissioner Gilmore raised a really good point in saying that both staff and our body of users of Civil Service Commission services will be better served if we have a chief examiner permanently in place. So I would certainly be supportive of starting that process. And I, like Commissioner Holt, I believe I expressed that I don't need to see every single application. I would like to see them filtered for minimum quals to make sure that those are the individuals we want to spend our time looking at.
I will acquiesce to the two commissioners as far as not looking at every application. Minimum qualifications should be determined. Yes, I agree with that. If they're questionable, I think they should still be put in a pile. I guess as someone who has served on a lot of committees to read grants, I have been used to reading stacks and stacks of things. So I shouldn't volunteer myself for that right now, but I'm going to say that unless we just have hundreds and hundreds, and maybe we will, of applications, I'm willing to spend some time on that. But yes, definitely, I think we should start out with the minimum qualification applications. Yes, I would agree. But I do think that maybe we need to go ahead and set a date of, I don't think Pam Bergen isn't with us today, is she? Is she? I see you nodding your head. Okay. Then there she is right there. Pam, could you give us a date that maybe would be comfortable for you to begin this process then? If we-
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Commissioner. We're really ready. We have the draft posting all ready to go. So, typically we would post on a Sunday or a Monday of your guys' choosing. And if you wanted to review that draft posting beforehand, I could send that as well. But we're ready to post whenever you guys are ready to say go.
Well, I think it sounds to me like Commissioner Holt was ready to make a motion to do just that. Is that correct?
I would make the motion that we begin the job posting and recruitment process for the chief examiner position.
I would second that.
So the motion does not need to have a date? Fair.
Well, if you usually do this on a Sunday, let's let them start at the Sunday with the understanding that an applicant does not have to have go zags on their application to meet minimum qualifications.
I guess I can support that amendment to my motion.
Okay, maybe they should, but
So what's the motion then at this point?
Or for recruitment.
Starting after the game on Sunday, or Monday, is that what that was? I'm not sure.
Start Monday the 26th.
I guess I would modify, Mr. Chair, I would modify my motion that we begin the recruitment process under the normal timelines in coordination with Civil Service and Human Resources.
So Pam could just start it. A normal recruitment would start on Monday the 27th.
Set all the deadline.
You could say we could do a standard recruitment period of 2 weeks for a first review at 2 weeks. I mean, last time it was open for 6 months, so I don't know if that's palatable. But we could just say first review after 2 weeks, see what that looks like.
I need one of those two to incorporate that into the motion.
I didn't hear it.
Somebody asked Pam what a standard recruitment looks like. How about that?
Right, Ms. Bergen, what's the standard recruitment period?
A standard recruitment is usually between 2 and 4 weeks. 2 is the minimum typically, and 3 to 4 weeks is very average.
So if we did 4 weeks, it would not occur until after the next meeting.
I personally would not like to have the recruitment any longer than 3 weeks.
Okay.
That would be, there could be a first review at the April meeting.
Okay. Was that an amendment to the motion?
Yes, I support that amendment.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I
Did Commissioner Stevens say anything?
I said aye. Sorry, I didn't unmute.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So do I understand that that this is going to be posted then this coming weekend or Monday, the 22nd, correct? Okay, so we've got 3 weeks. Okay, very good.
I've got a little business. Still adjourned yet?
All right. Other business.
I have just a quick thing to bring up. And Judith and Mark are aware that City Council has approached us to do a joint commission, City Council meeting sometime. And I just kind of want to throw out there that they would like to do it at one of their Thursday study sessions, which always start at 11 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I think maybe I think people seem amenable. I think, Judith, if you want to speak a little more to what this joint meeting might look like. I know you talked to Council President Beggs about it. But I can, Thursdays at 11, I probably just want to try to hone in on a couple of dates that might work for people, and I can go back to City Council and see what might work best for them. So Judith, did you want to elaborate on sort of what this might look like?
Actually, I was actually talking to Council President Biggs on a totally different topic when he brought this up. He said that the council had been having various boards and commissions meet with them to sort of help the council better understand what they do. And he said, I think we all have some questions about civil service, or at least there's some things that we need to learn. And do you think the commissioners would be willing to do this? And I said, I was sure we would. I did not know anything about when they did these. That's what Kelsey has let us know. I am assuming, because they're at a briefing session, they're not, it's not a long integrated involved thing. I would think that most people currently on city council would know about civil service, but I don't think we're ever shy about explaining what civil service is or what we do. Or I know one of the things that happened, I had mentioned to Council President Beggs when we were talking that we had an open seat and that we really needed to get that filled because we're a small commission, and that it keeps us from doing business if we don't have everybody present or nearly everybody present. So he started asking questions and I was answering them, and he said, we need to have the commission. So it seemed to me like what we went through today was almost a primer of sort of what we would, an outline at least, that we would give to the council and let them ask us questions. That seems logical to me. And I'm assuming if it's any time, even in April, that it's probably going to be a virtual meeting. That's as much as I know about it.
That is true. City Council has decided to remain 100% virtual, even though we're moved into phase 2 and we're moving into phase 3. Maybe that will change as time goes on. I suspect it will be a virtual meeting. The Thursday at 11 is really the time slot that their assistant gave us as when a good time to do the joint meeting was. I think it is meant to be informative on both ends, informative for commission on city councils, priorities and things of importance, and then to just learn more about the commission and sort of what our priorities are for, this year, next year, et cetera, in the long term. It would be nice to do this before the mayor puts forth their person for approval for the commission spot, just to give them a more broader idea of sort of what we do and what we are and what another commission member would be bringing to the table. I do know that the mayor is currently interviewing candidates right now for our final commission member. So perhaps we'll have a new commission member in the not so distant future. At any rate, we could do something as soon as the 1st of April or the 15th of April, the 29th of April, or we could start looking at Thursdays at 11 in May. And that we don't need to pick a date right this moment. I can just maybe start emailing you guys with some options see if we could land on a day together that works best for everyone to commit to maybe an hour of your time on a Thursday at 11. Any questions or concerns about doing this?
Was there any indication made to you if they were, is the council pushing for a date in April? Did they want to do it sooner rather than later, or was that indicated at all?
I think they'd like to do it sooner rather than later, but really I think it's just because logistics wise, you know, I mean, it was all, first they gave me all the days in Thursday, or all the Thursdays in April, and we're already seeing that, you know, Council President Beggs is going to be gone a couple Thursdays. There's study sessions are getting canceled. So I think they just like to get something on the books so that people know to make sure that they're there for it and or that things don't get canceled.
Well, we just set, we know now that the week of the, okay, you mentioned the 1st of April, the 15th of April. It would appear to me that it will be the week of April 5th that we will be closing the applications, correct, for chief examiner. So
Right.
I would think that we may want to either, I mean, it's going to get a little hectic for us too if we're going to be doing interviews. So I would suggest we either do it the 15th or suggest the 15th of April, or we wait until May perhaps. But that's my suggestion. I don't know what others think.
Would the 15th be enough time for other commissioners to be able to, you know, amend your work schedule to be able to make that work?
It's at 11 in the morning, did you say?
Yes. Yep. It is at 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what date again?
Thursday, the 15th.
Okay.
I can tentatively, looks okay so far, but you know, it's far enough out that something could change.
Yeah, if you're gonna put it on, please, my calendar fills up really quickly with this job, so if you're gonna put something.
Got
out
it.
there, please, yeah.
I will, we'll reach back out to city council today and make sure that day is still good for everyone. And then I'll send everybody a formal invitation to make sure we get it on everyone's calendars as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thanks, commissioners. This should be an interesting and informative meeting.
Any other new business?
I move adjournment.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Also, just real quickly, I think that we need to have a quick amendment that limits Commissioner Halt to 2 cups of coffee